Hey guys, at some point you're going to be in the market to buy a home, and there's two ways to go. You'll find yourself in a crossroads. You can go brand new construction or buy an existing home. I'm here today to give you some pros and cons of each way to go and show you the benefits of buying a new construction and the pros and cons of buying an existing home. So stay tuned. I've been in the real estate market my entire life, and I'm here to give you guys some tips on what I've done in the past. I've been in this for over 35 years, and I want to show you the pros and cons on finding out which is the best avenue for you to go when making that decision. This video is sponsored by Olight. Olight's having their best sale of the year starting right now, running through November 27th. They're selling some of their products with up to 50% off. This is by far one of the best sales they have all year. They have been kind enough to send us a couple of their new flashlights. I'm holding their brand new Warrior X4. This thing is truly a tactical flashlight. It comes with a holster for a quick release. So if you wear it on your belt, you can get it off. It goes right back in. This one has 2,600 lumens and a 630 meter throw. This is truly a tactical flashlight. And what I like about it, it's easily rechargeable with a USB port. It just clicks on the end. This is one bright light. It has a flash mode on here. Don't want to blind you with it. And then you hit the next button, and then you can see this thing a long way. I have a chicken coop clear in the background. I don't know if you can see it. I'm flashing it on there. Please click on the link provided and it will take you to the website. There are coupon codes available for Brad the Builder family, but it only applies to non-sale items. Many of these are deeply discounted for this Black Friday sale. Use the discount code BTB for Brad the Builder 10, BTB 10. You'll get 10% off code. Okay, the first thing that comes to everyone's mind is budget. What can I afford? And you always want to get as much money out of a property as possible. So what I have found, being a home builder, that people typically come to me as the last resort. They're always looking for an existing home, because what you typically will get when you buy existing is a better bang for your buck. And the reason why you get more out of money out of an existing home is people have purchased this property a good 4 to 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's always cheaper last year. So if you add 5 years to that, they have already purchased a home at a good value, and now they're writing the appreciation up. There is room for negotiation. On new construction, the prices are almost fixed because the cost of construction is there. And when you're building new, your cost per square foot is typically way higher than existing. If you're looking for value, an existing home is the way to go. But the downside is with existing, you may not get everything that you want, because brand new homes have the latest in technology. They've got the latest in appliances, colors. There's a better energy efficient package. Codes are constantly changing, which are requiring new homes to be built at a higher standard. So you might want to be checking utility costs. I tell people, when you buy a car, you're looking for what type of gas mileage does it come with the car. Well, why would you not ask what the utility costs are on a home? You're going to have that expense no matter what. You have to pay taxes and you have to pay utilities. We can't get away from that. So an existing home, you already have the history of the people living in the property. You can call utility companies, typically without being the homeowner, and ask what the average rate would be for the gas bill, the electric bill, and then you can get a sense of what that house will cost you monthly. On a new home, you don't have that history. So you're riding on the benefit of hoping the builder has built this as a solid home with really a higher R value insulation, but also questions you should be asking is how energy efficient is the furnace that they're putting in the home? How many SEER is the AC? SEER is something that measures. The higher the number on SEER, you might get a 12 SEER, sometimes it's 14. The higher the number, the more efficient it is. So also on furnaces, you can get an 80% furnace, 90, 95. So the higher the percentage, the more efficient it is, but also it costs more the higher you go. Next thing is warranty. Who is going to stand behind this home? New construction, everything is brand new. So you have manufacturer's warranties that come with the home. So if your refrigerator or your appliances, any of those run out, it's not the builder's responsibility, but it's the manufacturer that stands behind it. You buy an existing home, Those warranties typically last 1 year. So if you buy a home that's way older than a year, most likely, you're not going to have any warranties with your appliances. Same thing goes for furnaces. Same thing goes for air conditioning. New homes have at least a 1 year. Some appliances, some manufacturers, HVAC things run higher, but you will not get that on an existing home. So keep that in mind. But then also, if something goes wrong, when you buy an existing home, you are now the new owner. You have bought a home that's 5, 6, 7, 10 years old. Whatever's going on with that house, as soon as you close on it, it becomes your home. Those are your problems. You buy brand new, hopefully you have a reputable builder. That's important too. Check the reputation of this builder, that in the event something goes wrong, a builder should stand behind their home at least for 12 months or longer. And if not, if it goes beyond the 12 months, will that builder help you find the subcontractors, go out of his way to help you fix your home? I've had people call me after living in homes that they bought from the original owner. 20 years later, call me up and say, hey, I need help because I have a roof leak or something like that. Typically, when those problems arise, I'm always there to help them. But the roof is leaking most likely because of some type of storm damage. Here's another thing I found out with buyers. You're either a new buyer for a new home or you're buying existing. Some people have always lived in homes that have been lived in by somebody else. They're comfortable doing that. What's interesting is if somebody's always lived in a brand new home, they're highly unlikely to go buy an existing property because they're so used to the new stuff from new appliances, the bigger closets. And I relate this to cars. If you're always buying new cars, you're not going to be the person that's going to be too excited about buying a car that's 3 or 4 or 5 years old that someone else has driven. There is value in buying existing, but it comes at some consequences, if you will. So you get a better bang for your buck buying existing, just like you get a better bang on your buck from buying a used car. But if the car's got 50, 60, or 100,000 miles on it, that's wear and tear. Same thing with the home. It says 5, 6 to 10 years old. That's wear and tear. You're going to have some maintenance on that home that you will not have with a brand new home. A brand new home is going to cost you a little bit more per square foot, but you should have peace of mind that it's got the latest and greatest. So I like to use the analogy with cars and homes. It seems to be a great way for people to kind of understand. So brand new car comes with all the warranties. You get the latest and greatest heated seats, air conditioned seats, nice stereo, new upholstery, everything's nice and new. It comes at a higher price. But existing cars, trucks, what have you, you're buying something that's a little bit outdated, but you're not having to pay the full price. So there's the trade-off, and that's back to budget. What can you afford? A loan officer can help you qualify. So before you go buy a home, do the math. Call a banker, a loan officer, and they will qualify you. They need to account for what your payments are for card payments. You have student loans. Any payment that you have on your credit card is going to hurt your buying power. So it's important to keep that cleaned up so you don't have all that debt, because the more debt you have over here on making payments, the less you have to spend on a house. So there's a ratio, and the bankers will tell you that. Typically, it used to be about 36% is the maximum, 36 to 38% maximum debt. I'm probably talking way more detailed than what you would like. In your mind, you might be able to afford more, but the banks are only going to loan you what they feel is the normal standard on qualifying for a house payment. So pay those credit cards off. Make sure you don't buy an expensive car ahead of time and then go house shopping. Get the house first. That's your best investment, and then go down the road and buy other things like cars and boats, what have you. But try to get into a home first. It's always going to be your best investment, because when you're making payments on your home, you're paying down the debt. And that's a benefit whether you're buying new construction or buying existing. There's another benefit you should look at when buying in a brand new home, is that the property has not been fully assessed for taxes, which means you will not have to pay property taxes for maybe a year, year and a half. It'll take a while for the tax assessor to catch up. So you do not have the full amount assessed on an existing home that you would on a brand new home. So that's something to consider, which will allow you to grow into your house. So tying this all together, probably something the most fun about purchasing a new home is that if you're building a new home, you get your wish list addressed. You get to pick out your colors, you get carpet, your countertops, cabinets. You're starting from scratch, so guess what? You get exactly what you want. And I recommend working with an interior designer so you're not doing this all on your own. that is a benefit. It doesn't cost but a little bit, and they make sure that everything is going in and coordinates nicely. Now, on an existing home, you can always have an interior designer come with and help you, but that also means you are spending more on an existing home because you're buying the house as is, and then you have to update it. So there's an additional cost. If you're lucky, you will find an existing home that's been updated, everything's to your liking, it's on the perfect location. That's what people look for first, and when they can't find the perfect home, that's when I find they come see me, Brad the Builder, because they have run the gambit, looked as much as they could, and they now saying we have to build a home to get what we want. So even though people come to me after they've researched and they're saying we can't find out what they want, they'll sit down with me and we'll start working on a plan. And I've had this happen several times. Even though they're working with me on plans, they are still out looking for that existing perfect home. And I can't tell you how many times I've lost deals after a week or two of not talking and we're working on plans. They'll come back and say, Brad, hey, we're sorry. We were out driving around, found the perfect open house, and we bought a home so we don't have to build. People are a lot of times afraid of building because of the war stories. And that's another thing to do when you're shopping for a home builder is check references. Here's 3 ways I tell people to check for references because they can give you their top 3 customers. You need to get a reference from the people that they're currently working with, someone that they've in the middle of construction and maybe just moved in, and somebody that's lived in the house for a year or 2 to see if they're standing behind the house. And the people that in the middle, is the builder doing their job like they said? It's always nice and warm and fuzzy in the beginning. Hey guys, I'm gonna do this for you. I love what you're saying. You're gonna be happy, blah, blah, blah. Words need to be backed up with actions. So make sure the builder gives you references and you can check their references that the homeowners that they're currently working with are doing a great job. And I say there's a 4th one, probably just as important. If you have time, go around the job sites and talk to subcontractors. Maybe pull up to a framer or a plumber or electrician and say, hey, I'm thinking about building a home. I have these 2 or 3 builders I'm working with. What do you think of these guys? No matter what town you're in, these towns are always small towns. Everybody talks and they all know people's reputations. That's why it's so important for me as a home builder to treat people fair, from homeowners to subcontractors, because it all will come back around. It could bite you in the hind end if you don't treat people fairly or don't stand behind your word. So do your homework, you guys, and you will find out if you have the right builder. It's no different than dating. Didn't you guys ask a friend or a girlfriend or a buddy, say, hey, I'm thinking about taking this person out on a date, or this guy asked me out? You're doing your homework on that. Why not do a homework when you're spending the most money you will in your entire life? So slow down the process, take time, do your research, because this is such an emotional buy that you sometimes will find yourself getting ahead of yourself. So if you slow it down, take out the furniture. That's another thing. Some of these model homes are beautiful. People's homes have nice furniture. That does not go with the house. So you have to look beyond that, and then you will be able to make a smart purchase decision. All right, guys, let's say you decide you want to build a new home. There's another 2 ways you can go on this. Do you want to build a home and do it yourself, take on the task of a home builder general contractor, or should you hire a general contractor? Let me give you my spin on this. So first question is, if you're going to take on this job yourself, how much money do you think you're going to save? And I always ask that number because people come up with a super high number and it's not realistic. I cannot make a living building one house. I have to build about 4 or 5 to make the amount of money that I would like to make. So the short answer on that would be is if you're building a home, let's say it's $500,000 and you think you're going to save $100,000, you're dreaming. There is not that kind of money to be made in new construction. The builder will probably make a profit of about 10 or 12%. So that's $50,000 to $60,000. So take that number, and if you're going to do it yourself, you're now going to go out and talk to subcontractors that you have to hire. And give you some idea, subcontractors are hard to find right now. And if they're going to work for you, why would they give you a discount when they could come to me, a general contractor, that's going to give them at least 5 or 6 jobs a year and ongoing? So they're more likely to give me a discount, which I then give back to you, the client. So if you're now acting as a general contractor, what I see is they will meet with you and you have no idea what things cost. They will charge you more than what they will charge a contractor that is in the business. And here's why. One, you're not getting them any repeat business, so there's no motivation for them to give you a good deal because there's nothing for them after you move in the house. Number two, know that you don't know what you're doing, and it's going to take them more time to build your house than it would to come on my job sites. I scheduled jobs, so when they show up, the job's ready, and I'm also available. How available are you? Because you're working your full-time job during the day, and these guys are working when you're working. So how are they going to get questions and answer to their questions when you're at work? You now are saying, hey, if I can save 50 grand, they're going to overcharge you some money. You're also going to run the risk of making mistakes. I make mistakes, and I've been doing this for 35 years. You're doing it for the very first time, maybe the second time. You make one or two mistakes and they cost you 10 or 15 grand, just like this driveway that got screwed up on my house. Luckily, the contractor paid for that. That was a $20-some thousand mistake. So now you are building your house and you are saving $0. Most likely it's costing you more. I would put money on it that it will cost you more to build your own house than if you were to hire a professional. So keep that in mind. I always tell people when they say, hey, how much money can I save if I build my own house? I go, well, have you ever built homes before? Typically, no. Do you know any contractors? My brother is a drywaller. You have to know everybody in the business to make this work. You're putting a team together. And if any of those guys fail or don't show up on time, it's costing you money. Let me know your thoughts. If you like what we're talking about, I'll be glad to go in more detail. And as always, I really love you guys watching. Your comments, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next job site.